programs offering
of the health insurance market. Their numbers are growing. Tracking the West Nile virus. A mosquito expert joins the hunt.
Here we go.
And Eye on America. Tonight, thieves with familiar names. Yours.
This is the CBS Evening News. With Dan Rather reporting from CBS News headquarters in New York.
Good evening. A jury verdict today could change the way the automobile insurance industry does business and could lead to higher premiums for you. The jury agreed that the State Farm Insurance Company breached a contract to restore cars to pre-accident condition by insisting repair shops use cheap replacement parts. As CBS's Anthony Mason reports, the verdict will put a big dent in State Farm's wallet and eventually probably yours as well.
The nation's largest auto insurer, accused of forcing inferior parts on its policyholders, was slapped with a $456 million judgment by an Illinois jury today.
We at State Farm are extremely disappointed.
State Farm, like many insurance companies, often dictates that crash repairs be made with so-called aftermarket parts, low-cost generic knockoffs.
And you can see the aftermarket fender doesn't line up with the factory door. The line is way too tight, and then as we continue down, the gap gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and it's way too wide at the bottom.
They're cheap, flimsy, imitation parts.
Don Barrett represented State Farm policyholders in the class action suit. In its defense, State Farm claimed safety was never an issue.
During the entire 6 weeks of evidence, the plaintiff attorneys were not able to bring forward one State Farm policyholder, not one, who suffered an injury of any kind.
But the jury may have been swayed by concerns about aftermarket parts raised in State Farm's own internal documents. We say it's like, kind, and quality, said one, and the bottom line is it's not the same. State Farm insures 1 out of every 5 motorists, but the verdict may force premiums up across the industry.
It says to me there'll be glee in Detroit tonight because the automobile manufacturers will now be able to, if this verdict stands, have a monopoly on these parts.
And in fact, some consumer advocates agree that these cheaper parts help give Detroit some competition and keep prices down. In the end, this decision could end up costing consumers money. Dan?
Anthony Mason, thanks. On the CBS Market Watch, something else that's costing drivers plenty, gasoline. The Energy Department reported today that since gasoline prices bottomed out in February, the cost of a gallon of regular has soared 35 cents to a nationwide average of $1.26. On Wall Street today, stock prices rallied. The Dow closed up 128 points. NASDAQ was up 59. Despite the strong economy, new U.S. government figures out today underscore that many Americans do not have health insurance coverage. The Census Bureau reports the ranks of the uninsured topped 44 million last year, an increase of almost 1 million in just 1 year. All told, that means 1 out of 6 Americans is without health insurance. And in a lot of cases, they are people who do have jobs. CBS's Sandra Hughes has been looking into this.
The Venice Family Clinic in Los Angeles is the biggest free clinic in the country. Most of the patients work, but they have no health insurance.
We have increased our capacity by 60% in the last 3 years, almost doubling in size, and we're still turning away 40 people a day.
Rosario Molina had no insurance to cover her daughter's birth, even though she had a job as a cashier.
They say they never give, insurance on nobody.
And you're working full-time?
Yeah, full-time.
40 hours a week?
More than that.
Rosario's not alone. The number of uninsured women is increasing faster than men, and 1/3 of all poor people are uninsured.
The number of uninsured continues to increase every year, and that the percentage of poor people without health insurance is about twice that of the national average.
This at a time of unprecedented prosperity. More Americans than ever are working, yet the study finds that nearly half of the uninsured are employed.
The jobs that people are getting in many cases don't carry health insurance benefits with them, or the benefits that they offer are simply too expensive for low-wage workers to be able to take advantage of.
Many of the newly employed have just moved off welfare where they had Medicaid coverage. Now they have no coverage at all. Hispanics, part-time workers, and young adults have the highest rates of non-coverage.
people who are in need of a job can't ask for more benefits because they're afraid of losing their job.
If it weren't for the free clinic, Jeff Williams wouldn't even go to a doctor.
You think that, you know, a small thing like health care people could provide for their own, but it's just not the case.
Not for millions of working Americans, not anymore. Sandra Hughes, CBS News, Los Angeles.
Elected officials from President Clinton on down reacted today to this latest reminder of the growing and widespread lack of health insurance. CBS News Chief White House correspondent John Roberts reports on a medical issue that's re-emerging as a political issue in Campaign 2000.
The First Lady and I and all the rest of us were right in 1994.
The president issued an I told you so today, saying he saw it coming 5 years ago when national health care failed. While few people in Congress, Republican or Democrat, want to revisit that ground, it is clear that the system is broken.
There is a great irony if you see the employment improving, the unemployment rate's gone down, and yet people don't have coverage.
Don't have coverage because many of the new jobs created in the last 5 years were in small businesses that don't offer benefits. And a federally sponsored children's health program is falling well short of enrollment targets.
We have had success as far as getting people on the rolls, getting the money for uninsured children, but we still have challenges.
And there's a new problem. More middle-income earners in the $50,000 to $70,000 per year range were losing their benefits.
There's clearly a disturbing trend in companies dropping health coverage.
In the absence of a national policy, the White House tried incremental changes like tax incentives to employers who provided coverage. Policies critics charge showed a lack of vision.
They've been assuming that if you just add a little bit of coverage here and there or push employers to enroll some more people, somehow that will gradually solve the problem. It won't.
The battle to provide health care for the uninsured will now be fought in the campaign trail, with Democrat and Republican candidates for president all putting forward their own plans. And while none have proposed the same top-to-bottom overhaul the Clinton administration did, there will be some radical surgery to remedy what many people call a national disgrace. Dan?
John Roberts at the White House. The U.S. Department of Agriculture has been forced to confirm that non-profit organizations, so-called, are eating the taxpayers' lunch in daycare centers around the nation. The federal government pays these groups $1.7 billion a year to provide meals for more than 2 million poor children in daycare. But an outside investigation found many sponsors routinely filed false claims, overstating the number of meals served, and kept the extra money, in many cases millions of dollars, for themselves. So far as can be determined, no one in the Agriculture Department has been fired or even suspended in the wake of these revelations. Still to come on the CBS Evening News, a different message on drugs draws fire from the Clinton White House. Meet the man who's tracking the West Nile virus outbreak to its stinging source. And identity thieves, they steal your name. And that's just the beginning.
Fortunately, there's Nasonex nasal spray, an effective nasal allergy prescription medicine taken once a day to relieve nasal allergy symptoms, indoors and out. Now that's wonderful. The most common side effects were headache, viral infection, sore throat, nosebleeds, and coughing.
What if you could treat wrinkles like an expert would? With Rock, the #1 anti-wrinkle cream in France, you can. Developed with dermatologists, Rock's pure and active form of vitamin A works deeper, inside skin surface. In a 12-week study, the appearance of fine lines was reduced by 86%, wrinkles by 42%. Something more superficial beauty treatments could never promise. Rock, we keep our promises.
Now that we have a plan.
What can we afford?
If I retire at, say, 65.
No, 55. Sorry. Oh, 62.
Now, if Kevin goes Ivy League, let's go junior college.
Honey, if he gets into an Ivy League, he's going Ivy League.
You're right.
Okay.
I don't know.
Let's see it again. And buying the vineyard in Tuscany. Ooh. Vacation in Tuscany.
Yeah. That's nice.
I like that.
No matter what you want to achieve, we can help. Ask Merrill Lynch.
The U.S. Supreme Court opened its new term today and got right down to cases. Among other things, the justices allowed states to give tax breaks to people who donate money for scholarships at religious schools. The High Court also said newly hired public school teachers may be required to take drug tests. A new skirmish has broken out in the war on drugs, this time between the federal government and the governor of one state on the front lines of drug traffic. The governor was shooting from the lip today, as CBS's Jim Stewart reports.
Give him this much, Gary Johnson of New Mexico is not your average governor. Whether he's hang gliding off mountains or competing in the Ironman triathlon, the governor of New Mexico, Johnson has always gone his own way. Only this time, even his staunchest supporters are shocked at the direction, because Johnson came to Washington today to say the war on drugs has been lost and we've been preaching the wrong message to our kids.
You're brought up hearing that drugs are going to make you crazy, and you know what? You do marijuana for the first time, and it's not so bad. It's kind of cool, actually.
As an admitted cocaine and marijuana user in his own youth, it's also harmful, he believes. Nevertheless, the two-term Republican governor has become the highest-ranking public official yet to suggest the legalization of drugs.
There is a real strong argument that you could reduce or hold level drug abuse under a legalized scenario. This prohibition model that we have, which is arrest them and lock them up, is clearly not working.
That the governor of a border state where the drug war is at its fiercest would make such a claim has infuriated lawmen. White House drug czar General Barry McCaffrey is calling Johnson's ideas nutty and bizarre.
Well, one of his own sheriffs told me he's done more damage in the last few months than has been done in the last several years by drug legalization forces.
Johnson can't seek a third term in New Mexico, and his proposals don't seem to be going anywhere, but that hasn't stopped a Washington counterattack. While he's here giving speeches this week, McCaffrey now says he'll go to New Mexico and remind voters there that they have one of the highest rates of drug overdose in the country. Jim Stewart, CBS News, Washington.
Next on the CBS Evening News, the mosquito expert who says the first ever West Nile virus outbreak in the U.S. could have been prevented.
Nobody does it like you.
Boy, they love to play horsey. So your carpet better be deep down clean. And for that, you need Hoover. Hey, you want the best, partner? Introducing the Hoover Steam Vac Wide Path. It sends hot water surging through 6 rotating brushes to stir up and pull out deep down dirt the way no other carpet cleaner can.
Hoover!
If you want clean, deep down, you want Hoover.
Every kid knows, if you want to make the big leagues, you better eat your Wheaties. And every dad should know, whole grain Wheaties may help prevent cancer. Numerous studies confirm a low-fat diet rich in whole grain foods like Wheaties may reduce the risk of certain cancers. So when he does make the big leagues, you'll be in the front row. 100% whole grain Wheaties and new Wheaties Raisin Bran, champions in the fight against cancer.
Out here, I'm in command. So am I supposed to say, slow down, guys, I'm constipated? I don't think so. You try to eat right. Sometimes you can't. Harsh chemical laxatives, they can kick in whenever and wherever. Not an option. So I rely on doctor-recommended Metamucil. It's got 100% natural fiber. Works with my body, gently, which is important to a sensitive guy like myself.
Metamucil, the doctor's natural choice for regularity.
Thanks for making a leave. For almost 5 years, I often had a hard time walking. I went from doctor to doctor and even had surgery on both knees. Most pain relievers worked for a while, then quit, and the pain came back. Finally, a doctor suggested a leave. Soon I could dance all night again.
Aleve can stop pain all day with just 2 pills. It would take 8 Tylenol to do that.
Now people say I'm a walking advertisement for Aleve.
All day strong, all day long.
On the CBS Weather Watch, fresh reminders today that the modern official hurricane season doesn't end until November 30th. There's now a potential triple threat. A still developing tropical depression is generating stormy weather in the central Gulf of Mexico, Florida, and elsewhere along the Gulf Coast. 2 other tropical disturbances are building strength in the central and eastern Atlantic. Schools in eastern North Carolina reopened today for the first time since the massive flooding from Hurricane Floyd in mid-September. The school day started an hour late because many roads are still washed out. North Carolina school attendance was down about 10% on the day. Tonight we take you along with a top mosquito expert. He is among the disease detectives and virus hunters investigating the first West Nile virus outbreak in this country. And as CBS's Elizabeth Caledon reports, he has some stinging remarks for officials who didn't detect loopholes in the safety net against disease-bearing insects until it was too late.
We'll put this bag on it here to collect the mosquitoes.
Derlin Fish knows a lot about mosquitoes.
In the morning, we'll go back and see how many mosquitoes there are in this area.
But what he doesn't know is exactly how many species of the well-known pest are spreading the West Nile virus and how transmission occurs.
One species probably important in transmitting it between birds, and another species is probably important in transmitting from birds to humans.
To help answer basic questions about a virus that is stumping a legion of scientists, Fish, a Yale entomologist, has been hired as a mosquito bounty hunter of sorts, prowling the woods around New York City, searching for clues. Dead birds are being shipped to the Centers for Disease Control's infectious disease lab in Colorado for analysis. And the city of New York is hoping a blood survey in the neighborhoods in which 4 people died will yield even more answers. But to Fish, it's all about the bugs.
Well, we don't have any eggs on it yet.
He believes the outbreak could have been prevented if the summer mosquito boom had been better monitored and tested, the way insect populations once were in the past.
And if that's done on a routine basis, when a virus appears, you're able to detect it before you get human cases.
While admitting mosquito surveillance could have been better, officials say no one could have predicted the threat.
It is unlikely that we could have anticipated that a virus that had never appeared before in the Western Hemisphere would have been showing up in New York City at the time that it did.
Still, they are quick to add the arrival of the West Nile virus will change the way we look at mosquitoes in the future, and that even in places like New York City, mosquito surveillance will become a new priority. Elizabeth Caledon, CBS News, New York.
Coming up next on the CBS Evening News, an echo of Europe's past could be a force in the next century.
Natural, real. I want to look the way I feel. I'm a Grecian man.
Grecian fine.
Want it quick, hassle-free. A look that really looks like me. Grecian man.
Grecian fine.
A Grecian man, no time for gray. A new generation, a whole new day.
Grecian fine.
When dentures dream, they see the perfect denture cleanser. One with the stain-fighting power of Efferdent and the freshening power of Listerine. Well, little friend, dream no more. It's really here. It's called Efferdent Plus. It's extra fresh, and nothing gets your dentures cleaner. Efferdent Clean and Listerine Fresh. That's Efferdent Plus.
Before I quit smoking, I asked my doctor, is Nicorette gum safe? And he said, to quit smoking? Of course Nicorette gum is safe. Smoking is not. People smoke to get nicotine, and they get carbon monoxide and tars, which are deadly. Smoking is the danger. Nicorette can be a big part of the solution. Nicorette lets you use nicotine when you need it to help you overcome your cravings. Don't hesitate for a second.
Nicorette gum helps you fight your cravings, your habit, your way. You can do it. Nicorette can help.
Enterprise rent-a-car for my trip? Looks expensive.
It's not expensive, Mom.
They pick us up? Sounds expensive.
Pickup's free, Mom.
Well, if it's not expensive, why didn't I get a convertible?
Pick Enterprise. We'll pick you up.
If foods like onions and peppers give you gas, then do what I do. Take Beano before eating. It has a natural food enzyme that helps prevent gas caused by many vegetables, including beans. And for me, that's great news. Prevent gas with Beano.
Russian troops pushed deeper into the rebel Republic of Chechnya today as refugees kept pouring out. Russian tanks have reportedly advanced to within 25 miles of the Chechen capital. Their objective, say Russian generals, is to occupy the northern plains and keep the Islamic rebels bottled up in the mountainous south. The ground offensive in Chechnya follows weeks of Russian airstrikes. Hundreds of civilians have been killed and thousands have fled. Election returns from Austria today have raised fears about a specter from that nation's past. A right-wing party surged into second place behind a leader who once praised Hitler for his, quote, economic policies. CBS's Tom Fenton reports.
Austria faces a crisis because of this rising political star. Preliminary returns show that Jörg Haider and his Freedom Party made the best showing for any far-right party in Europe since World War II. By the time absentee ballots are counted later this week, his 27% of the vote may be enough to win him a share of power in the next government. Haider's father was a Nazi who joined the stormtroopers even before Hitler annexed Austria in 1938. Critics say the son grew up to be a closet neo-Nazi who once called veterans of the SS decent men of character. Nowadays, he tries to present a more acceptable image, repositioning himself as a mainstream conservative. But he still appeals to voters with crude anti-immigrant slogans that smack of the Nazi era. Haider's stunning election showing has dismayed foreign governments, especially in Israel, where President Ezer Weizmann took a page from history.
Yes, I think we should be concerned. It's not a pleasant thought that history might repeat itself. I hope not.
But Austrian voters seem to want to change and are not too concerned about what the rest of the world thinks of their politics. Even if he fails to make it into power this time, Haider and his party are forced to be reckoned with in the next century. Tom Fenton, CBS News, London.
Up next, CBS's Eye on America, identity theft. Tonight you'll meet a criminal who had dozens of IDs and one MO.
Hi, I'm Doug Flutie, pro football player and father of an autistic child. I started the Doug Flutie Jr. Foundation to help less fortunate families of autistic children get the support they need. Here's a way you can help. Just dial 1010-220. All calls up to 20 minutes are only 99 cents, and 1010-220 will make a donation to the Doug Flutie Jr. Foundation every time you use it. So dial 1010-220, get up to 20 minutes for only 99 cents, and help some great kids at the same time. It's a win-win situation. I wish football was this easy.
Boogie woogie, Brummelin' Brown, creamy, dreamy, Brummelin' Brown. It's got yogurt blended right in with the creamy taste of butter. You'll try again.
The goodness of yogurt, the creamy taste of butter with half the fat and calories. Must be Brummelin' Brown.
Look at all these laxatives. They all contain stimulants. That one says it may cause cramps. Only Phillips is stimulant-free. Nothing's more effective, nothing's safer.
So I've heard.
Phillips, safe, effective relief without harsh stimulants.
Oh, yeah, those first ice boats had a lot of speed, but not a whole lot of control. Yeah, with the blades setting early, couldn't steer around the ice fishing holes. Oh, geez, learned the hard way. Wider is better.
With its speed-sensitive steering technology, the White Track Grand Prix gives you precise cornering and control, even at a good clip.
You betcha. Bredere air, better.
Wider is better. The White Track Grand Prix by Pontiac.
I'm not really close to Anna Kournikova. First of all, there's that whole language thing.
A PE ratio is price divided by earnings. Earnings per share is a company's net income minus preferred dividend.
It's like she's speaking a different language.
Can anyone say asset allocation? Mid cap, small cap.
When we created a smarter kind of investment firm,
growth fund,
we created a smarter kind of investor.
Besides, some of the other players are kind of jealous of her, you know, portfolio.
Science has yet to clone a human being, but criminals are doing it every day. They can steal your identity, duplicate it, and turn your life into one financial nightmare. Estimates are it will happen to more than 400,000 Americans this year. In tonight's Eye on America, Cynthia Bowers gives you an example. She introduces you to an identity thief and his victim.
Mark Frank, husband, father, and engineer at Boeing, leads a pretty button-down life. But last November, his very ordered existence began to come undone.
Got a call from my wife, and she said, you know, honey, we've lost everything. They've gotten into our account. They've taken all our money.
They didn't just steal Mark Frank's money, they stole his name. And Frank became the latest victim of identity theft, a crime he'd never even heard of until he got a call from a Denver police detective.
You know, he'd ask the question, do you know someone is going around writing checks in your name? He's got your name, address, account numbers.
Where he worked, how much he made, his money market account numbers, savings account numbers, checking account numbers, anything that you could possibly need to defraud the man.
Richard Darrow was an identity thief extraordinaire. Emphasis on was. Armed with an MBA and a little computer know-how, Darrow turned from geek to gangster and turned Mark Frank's life upside down.
His information became available to me, I believe, when I was digging around in a dumpster behind a mortgage company.
Darrow needed money to fund a drug habit. Using a phony, computer-generated driver's license as ID, Darrow cashed payroll checks he also created on the computer and bought merchandise with bogus personal checks.
On a good day, I could make $5,000 in cash and another $7,000, $8,000 in merchandise.
Supported by a ring of 9 accomplices, he assumed the identity of no fewer than 75 people, including Mark Frank.
You feel violated. You're almost like you've been raped.
He says today that you made him feel totally helpless.
I can understand that. For all practical purposes, for the time that I was at least financially abusing the man's credentials, I was him.
Darrow went so far as to replace the security information on Mark Frank's credit file, so that if Frank were asked, for example, to confirm his mother's maiden name, he wouldn't have been able to.
So that even if he had gone into someplace like a Best Buy or Circuit City and he wanted to write a check, they would have thought that he was the one that was doing so fraudulently.
Mark Frank, meet your evil twin.
It's almost like he is living your life, that you then become, quote unquote, the bad guy.
Identity theft is part of the dramatic surge in white-collar crime. Here in Denver and across the country, violent crime is down as criminals have turned instead to scams like identity theft that are a lot less dangerous and far more lucrative.
Economic crime and consumer fraud.
In response to this growing threat, Denver's DA now treats identity theft not as nickel and dime forgery, but as an organized crime, subject to racketeering laws.
Our racketeering statute is a Class 2 felony in Colorado. That is the equivalent of second-degree murder, which is the second most serious class of felony that you can be convicted of.
Darrow's now cooperating with authorities, hoping to avoid a possible 48-year sentence for crimes he says were remarkably easy to pull off.
The proficiency with which I could do it was frightening, even to me. I'd even become belligerent if they were questioning my identity.
Once a brazen name dropper, Richard Darrow now seems contrite. For a while anyway, he'll be using his own name. In Denver, I'm Cynthia Bowers for Eye on America.
On tomorrow's CBS Evening News, we'll show you how difficult it is to straighten out your life after your identity is stolen. And that's part of our world tonight. Dan Rather reporting. Good night.
For news 24 hours a day, CBS.com on the internet and on our interactive partner, America Online, at keyword CBS News.
When crooks stole their identity and ruined their credit, they did all the right things to get it fixed.
Is your credit fixed now?
No,
Why?
because the companies won't take it off.
Clearing your credit record doesn't have to be a nightmare. What they finally had to do on Eye on America tomorrow on the CBS Evening News with Dan Rather.
A great way to get rid of stress tomorrow on This Morning. Experience CBS News.
The #1 newscast at 6 o'clock.